Batman, a silent guardian, the Dark Knight, a vigilante superhero character with 4 creators who forever changed the way we look at superheroes. But we're not here to talk about how badass the Batman is. Today, we're going to focus more on the creators of his story. There are many film adaptations of the Batman comic books, but the one that's gotten the most critical acclaim and stands out above the others is screenwriter and director Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. The second of a Batman film adaptation trilogy, this film has 2 iconic villains and a storyline that keeps you on the edge of your seat.
It's simple. Kill the Batman.
So my question is, who's the true author of this beautiful film? The 4 creators of the Batman comics, or Christopher Nolan, the director of the film?
Man, we're gonna have to move him now.
Christopher Nolan and his brother Jonathan Nolan wrote the Dark Knight screenplay. Their inspiration for the film was the Joker's comic book debut in 1940, the 1988 graphic novel The Killing Joke, and the 1996 series The Long Halloween, which retold Two-Face's origin. The nickname The Dark Knight was first applied to Batman in Batman #1 in 1940, in a story written by Bill Finger, one of Batman's 4 creators. So let's start off with the writers of the comics.
Bruce, this is Harvey Dent.
Rachel's told me everything about you.
I certainly hope not.
Bill Finger created these characters, and it would be unfair not to give him any credit at all when it comes to our question, who is the author of this film? He fleshed out many characters with backgrounds and little details. Without him there would be no characters for Nolan to work with in the first place. Now, that being said, let me tell you why Nolan is the real author of this film.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
In my opinion, everyone is responsible for the making of the film, from PAs to the writers and director. However, there are obviously people with far more creative control in film, and especially in this film in particular. Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan wrote the screenplay based on various Batman comics and didn't really follow any specific storyline. They were able to construct meaning and a brand new plot from pre-existing characters that the creators of Batman had already laid out for them. In an essay by Francois Truffaut, he discusses filmable and unfilmable scenes. When translating and adapting this story into a screenplay, this is definitely something that the Nolan brothers had to take into account. How would they blow up a hospital? Would this be a visual or practical effect? What would it cost to do this? Prior to making this film, Nolan already had quite some experience with both visual and practical effects from Batman Begins, but it's always something they had to take into account. Not only that, but finding actors to portray the already fleshed out characters was another grueling task that they had to take on. And for those who have seen the film, you can definitely tell that the actors chosen brought their own interpretations of the characters onto the screen. Without that, it would have been a completely different film. For example, we can compare the Joker played by Jack Nicholson in 1989 to Heath Ledger's Joker in 2008 and see just how different they are.
Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos. I'm an agent of chaos.
In a book written by Andre Bazin, he discusses auteur theory, which explains that the director is the one true author of the film they create. And in this film, that's definitely the case. Although we wouldn't have Batman to begin with without Bill Finger and the other creators, Christopher Nolan did a wonderful adaptation that he can definitely call his own.
I promise you, the dawn is coming.
And here we go.